Hello, everybody. Researchers really from around the world. It's quite amazing to see you all here. I think we have now well over 2,000, probably 3,000 of you logged in, and that's really quite amazing. So without much further ado, I'd like to show you what the agenda is for today and what we're going to be discussing. So we will give you an update on us, what it means to be working from home, because that's what we're doing right now during this pandemic. But we will also speak about how we work with you, many of you, and scientists from around the world to help solve this coronavirus pandemic. We will also give you an update on some of the Frontiers growths and innovations that are happening right now. And at the very end, we will have ample time for questions and discussions where we can speak to each other as well. So these are actually the hosts that will be speaking to you today. We have myself, I'm Camilla Markram. For those who don't know me, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Frontiers. I'm also a neuroscientist by training. We have Fred Fenter, he's our executive editor. You know him probably better from phone calls or emails. Miriam Eckert is our publishing director. She manages the journal and the peer review teams with whom we are in contact on a daily, if not weekly basis. And then we have Chantel Rees. She's our Markham director, and Daniel Petrario. He manages the products and the technology at Frontiers. So about 12 years ago, Frontiers started with a very simple mission. We are here to make all of science open so that everybody can really live a healthy life on a healthy planet. And this mission today is more relevant than ever. And it's actually so important, not just to science, but to society in general, that you'll hear throughout this entire presentation about it. But first, we would like to start with what's actually happening right now. Because today we are working on this mission from home, just like many, if not most of you. And this is really what it looks like to be working from home. This is us. We like to call ourselves the Frontons, and we're meeting now a lot online on Zoom. It's a lot, really. So who are we all? We're now more than 700 Frontons or employees. Quite a lot of us, close to 400, are managing the journals and the peer review. They assist and support you in your functions. But about a third, about 250 of us, are engineers and technologists. They build the platform that makes all of this happen. So most of our journal teams are located in Lausanne and in London. And most of our engineering teams are located in Trivandrum and in Madrid. And because our offices are really spanning the entire globe, we actually got to know the virus quite early onwards. Beijing was actually the first office. If you go back one slide still, Julia. Beijing was actually the first office that started to work from home, followed then by Seattle in the US, then Madrid, London, Lausanne, and at the end, Trivandrum. Now, I must tell you, for us, this was quite a profound experience, as it was for all of humanity. Really, from what it means to manage a crisis, to experiencing pandemic anxiety, and just to be, as well, like many of you, incredibly humbled by what is happening right now in the world. So when we actually started working from home, it worked out really well because we're accustomed to be working with each other across the different offices. We have the tools, we have the platform. We also work with you on a daily basis, and you're really located all around the world, so it's all happening online. So that was okay. But of course, a pandemic, it really comes with its own bucket full of challenges. One of them, for example, was that we have a lot of Frontons with children. Some of them are still quite small. So that really means that it means crazy days. Our directive here was quite straightforward. First, you take care of yourself, of course, and your family, your children. Then only do you attend to work. Practically, this means that some of us work less hours, and many of us have much more flexible time schedules right now. The other challenge that we were facing was really the isolation and the anxiety, again, like many of you. And here, what we did was to make sure that all the teams are really checking in with each other daily, not just for work-related issues, but as well to really find out if anybody needed help or support or just needed to chat to somebody. We also have now weekly, what we call the Frontiers pandemic updates. So where we meet to discuss coronavirus updates, our health situation as well, and in general as well, where we celebrate team achievements. Because believe it or not, but during this time, during confinement, we actually got a lot of things done, and we'll share that with you a little bit later. Okay. This is our health situation. We had 4 coronavirus cases, 4 confirmed, 20 suspected coronavirus cases in our population. And just as you see in the research papers and in the news, we saw the full spectrum. Not everybody could be tested because there was just not enough tests available. We as well see relapses in people that were tested and then get it again after they got negative. So again, we see the full spectrum here. And in order to basically deal with this, with the anxiety that comes with it, the uncertainty that comes with this, we established a coronavirus health site and as well as support group to really make everybody feel together in this, that they're taken care of and that they don't feel alone in this situation. This pandemic is really, for us at least, uncharted territory. We did not have a pandemic plan in the back drawer. We had to invent everything and guide our people on the go as it was happening. And of course, it was super important to us that everybody was taken care of and felt safe. So in order to make sure that this was happening, we actually conducted a survey with all of our employees, all the frontons. And I want to share some of the results with you. Overall, the results of this were quite positive, and you will be hearing about it as well in one of the newsletters where all of this will be made available to you. But here just some of the things that the frontons were saying. I'm going to read one to you, the blue box there down there in the left corner. The frontons, one of the frontons was saying, the weekly webcasts have been immensely informative and positive, and there's a real sense of team spirit. I couldn't be more proud to be working for Frontiers. We really think that during this crisis, we actually managed to work very well together and grew much stronger as a team. And this is as well the type of spirit that we want to transmit to you and really share with all of you, this one community. We were interested in really assessing our overall response to the pandemic, how well we were able to communicate throughout the pandemic, of course as well how able we were to maintain our operations and support you throughout this pandemic, and as well the well-being and the health of all of our staff. I just want to point out one particular item here that is really relevant to you, and that's our staff's confidence in how able we are to support you, authors, editors, and reviewers throughout the pandemic. So here I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the details of this. If you go to the next slide, please. So overall, the frontons, our staff felt very confident that we are able to support editors, reviewers, and authors throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. 38% of our staff gave it a 10 rating, another 40% an 8 or 9 rating. So that was quite good. We actually received immediate feedback from researchers from around the globe. Some of them were first responders, as we just saw as well, somebody on a hospital shift right now. So those were the people that gave us the first feedback. They needed to be alleviated throughout the situation. There were researchers that were experiencing anxiety and stress, did not want to have further review or editing assignments, but there were also a lot of positive messages. Researchers that really found themselves at home with more time to write up papers, and as well more time as well to go through review and editing assignments. So we really saw here the full spectrum of the response. And this is what we did concretely to support you, the editors, the reviewers, and authors throughout this pandemic. So our journal teams actually reached out personally to editors in hotspots to see what they needed and how they could be supported. We extended review and editing assignments wherever necessary. We also acknowledged the COVID-19 pandemic in all of our communication. But as people needed more time for certain things, other things actually needed to be accelerated. And that's in particular the coronavirus research. So we actually assembled a task force to fast track COVID-19 research articles as well. And currently we're waiving all COVID-19 related research. And Fred will be telling you a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. Our philosophy throughout all of this is very simple. We're in this together, and together we're as well stronger. We are here to watch out for each other and to support each other. And of course, a crisis such as this one, and particularly of these types of epic proportions as this one, it can bring out the worst in people, but it does as well bring out the very best in people. And that's what we really strive for. What does the best really mean? It means to support each other. It means to work with each other. It means to trust in each other, to be transparent and accountable for all of our actions, to have understanding if anybody experiences anxiety. But the best also means to have a good portion of grit and resilience, because after all, nobody's served if we succumb to our anxieties, because science today has never been more important. And all of us here, we the front runners, you the reviewers, the editors, the researchers out there, all of us, we are here to keep the science going. And this, of course, could not be more relevant and more important than in the case of coronavirus research. We actually assembled our own internal task force. We created, in the last couple of weeks and months, a coronavirus knowledge hub, where we really highlight the scientific response, so researchers' response to the pandemic, and where we as well collect all of your initiatives to fight the coronavirus pandemic together. And with this, I'm going to hand over first to Chantal and then to Fred, who have been working tirelessly with their teams on this in the last couple of weeks, and they will give you an update on this right now. So over to you, Chantal. Thank you.
Thank you, Camilla. Hello, everybody. I am Chantal, the Marketing and Communications Director. And today I'm going to give you a very brief overview of how we started to mobilize for our researchers. So with the onset of COVID-19, we refocused all of the efforts of the marketing and the communications department. And within a week, we had launched the Coronavirus Knowledge Hub to bring research communities together to find solutions, as well as to highlight the scientific response to the pandemic. It has received significant visibility, especially across our social media channels, and researchers are spontaneously reaching out to collaborate with us, mostly around research topics, with nearly 700 ideas submitted over the past 6 weeks. New content is added to the hub every single day, so if you haven't had the opportunity to explore it yet, I do encourage you to go online and to take a look around. One of the initiatives on the hub is our coronavirus funding monitor. It is a tool that allows you to find funding for your research. Other monitors like this do exist, but they are automated tools. So as automated tools, this means that their results are a little bit messy and difficult to use. So this is very unique. It's the first of its kind manually curated monitor that we update every single day. With time being of critical importance nowadays, this means it's very quick and easy for you to find relevant funding information. We are adding around 10 new calls every single week. There are currently 56 open calls, 103 since we launched, predominantly from Europe and the Americas, 52 from Europe and around 30 from America. There is an estimated $1.4 billion of funding represented on the monitor by a diverse range of funders, including the NIH, the European Commission, Facebook, Amazon, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Wellcome Trust. This funding monitor is part of an ongoing provision of funding-related resources. Another is a tool that we are developing for the funders themselves to find reviewers of their grant applications, and which my colleague Daniel is actually going to talk to you a little bit more about later in this presentation. Another initiative on the Hub is our expert video series. More than 20 interviews have been conducted so far, all over Zoom, including with 5 Frontiers chief editors, where we discuss all of the latest developments around COVID-19. They cover a range of different topics, including testing, the spread of the virus, intensive care, and pathology. Additional topics include treatments, economic recovery, and the societal impacts of COVID-19, like mental health. They are showcased across all of our different communication channels, including on the Hub, our newsletters, and social media. Frontiers is the official journal of the International Union of Immunological Societies, and with whom we are partnering on the Hub. And I know Rita from the IUIS is joining us today, so thank you, Rita. So how we are working with the IUIS is we are interviewing top COVID experts from their societies as a call for participation on various multidisciplinary research topics. And with these videos, we have managed to attract a large number of attendees to their webinars, which kick off those research topic discussions. We are also collaborating with the World Economic Forum to amplify the scientific voice amongst business and policy leaders. The WEF have requested that we send them all of the Frontiers research that has been published around the coronavirus, as well as all of the video interviews that we have done, and they are showcasing these on their transformation map. The transformation map is a very intuitive online tool which allows users to filter, visualize, and understand certain topics and the connections and interdependencies between them. Lastly, we are also working on a researcher survey. This survey aims to capture the academic response, your response to COVID-19. How has this impacted your work? Are you being supported? How should we be bringing labs together? And most importantly, what are the lessons learned and how can we mitigate future disasters? On hearing about the purpose of this survey, Qualtrics, the service provider that we are using, actually volunteered their services to us free of charge. On completion, we are going to be writing up a final report, which will be disseminated to business leaders, policymakers, and various academic stakeholders. You are going to be receiving this survey in around 4 hours. So please do keep an eye on your inbox and please do take that survey, as your input is going to be incredibly valuable to us. To end, if you have any questions, ideas, or suggestions about anything that I have presented today, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, either via your JM, otherwise my email address is on the screen. So now I'm going to be handing over to Fred, who is going to give you some insights into the fantastic COVID-19 research that is coming out of Frontiers. So over to you, Fred.
Okay, thanks very much, Chantal, for the report on the coronavirus Knowledge Hub. And good morning, everyone. I think from my point of view, at the core of this very impressive resource is a growing collection of peer-reviewed research articles covering all aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic and its implications. So what I'm going to do now is just say a few words about how Frontiers has truly taken the lead in COVID-19 research with the organization of this catalog of research topic projects. So here's what we did. We reached out to a group of editors last month with a call to join the initiative by launching their own editorial projects, using their own ideas, their own perspectives. And that call was heard very loud and clearly. That research topics have become the natural way to organize the COVID research across virtually all subject areas. We currently have 55 research topics open and 130 under evaluation. And this is providing a framework in which any member of the international community can participate. So we're very proud of this achievement. And just to see how this is being used already, 750,000 research topic views, 1.3 million video views. So what we have here is an amazingly useful resource. By all metrics, we've made a real contribution. And let me just finish this part by saying there is more to come. So as Chantal says, keep your eyes on this space. Now, here's just a group of some of the chief editors who became personally involved with the COVID-19 research topic. This is just an incredible signal, incredible sign that the Frontiers community has stood up to join the mission to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this is now a group of 31 associate editors and review editors who are also currently hosting a research topic. And there are many more among you who are involved in a project that is currently under evaluation. So thank you very much to you all for stepping up to make this happen. This response has truly been a rousing confirmation of the sense of community here at Frontiers. And as you see on the bottom, you have my email address. So here's what you can do. If you have an idea, or if you'd like to join an existing project, let me know and I'll make sure you get in contact with the right person. Let me just summarize by saying that within a couple of weeks, our hub has already become the go-to resource for the latest information on COVID-19. Here's just an example, a recent article that was published in Frontiers on the gender differences observed in morbidity and mortality. And within 24 hours, it was picked up by 53 different news outlets. And at last check, it was viewed well over 20,000 times. And so this is just again, society has shown a real thirst for validated information around the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, much of this content is very time sensitive. So we found ourselves with this, with a problem to solve. And that is, how are we going to provide rigorous but fast peer review for a significant number of these time sensitive findings? So we have had to date almost 2,000 submissions with 30 to 50 still coming in per day. This curve shows no sign of flattening at all. So just to give you some statistics, of these close to 2,000 articles, we've accepted 155 so far, but please do note that 521 have been rejected. And so this is actually a very, very important signal that we are maintaining our standards in the peer review process. The article that I picked here to highlight is one that was one of these time-sensitive articles, and it was published within 1 week of submission. And the way we were able to get this done was that the FCE for physics, Alex Hansen, who was with us this morning, he stepped in personally and got it done. But it was clear from the very beginning of this project that we were not going to get through this without some serious help from our editorial boards. And so this is the task force that Camila mentioned. We basically pulled together a rapid response review task force by sending out a note. We sent out a call to participate. The idea was to have 50 reviewers. That was our goal. 50 reviewers on standby to do the fast track review for these articles. 175 of you volunteered. This is absolutely an amazing result. Special mention to a group of editors who have really stood up to provide services above and beyond the call of duty. So yes, so these editors are really helping us to make sure that the process remains rigorous and efficient. Now, another important contribution that Frontiers is making to the COVID-19 effort is the waiving of all article publishing charges during the pandemic emergency. So this is good for all articles that are submitted to July 31st, and of course this deadline will be extended for all of you who are working on open research topics that are extended beyond this date. Now, more broadly, with this initiative, I think what we're trying to show is that we're trying to show one of the strong benefits of open science. Specifically, we want to wake people up with this type of initiative to the fact that preparedness for pandemics or other environmental emergencies must include full and complete and immediate access to the scientific literature. This is a basic measure to protect society against future crises and system failures. So I hope that this becomes a leitmotif that we'll be able to develop a little bit more further on in the presentation today. So with that, I hand the word back to Camilla.
So this was the coronavirus update, and now let's move over to the frontiers update, because we're growing. We're growing in submissions, we're growing in journals, and while we do so, we are also constantly increasing quality, efficiency, and satisfaction. As I said before, everything that we do is driven by our mission to make science open so that people can live healthy lives on a healthy planet. And I think that today we can all agree that this mission has never been more important. The coronavirus pandemic just shows how vital it is to share all of our research openly. It literally saves lives. So here are some numbers, because we love them. We love numbers. Frontiers today is the 5th largest open access publisher, and overall the 12th largest publisher in the world, out of about 8,000 listed publishers. So each year we climb some ranks, and we're quite ambitious. We actually want to become the #1. Why does this matter? Why does this ambition matter as well? Because the bigger and the more influential Frontiers becomes, the more your journals become leaders in their fields, the more open access becomes the new normal. And that's what we do. So everything that we do is centered around growth and also constantly increasing quality, efficiency, and satisfaction. That is just how we go about things here. And with this, I hand over to Miriam, our publishing director, who will tell you more about how we go about things.
Thank you, Camilla. So to realize a mission, you have to have clear goals in mind. And it is our goal to publish 52,000 articles this year. So how are we tracking towards our goals so far? Well, first of all these articles are going to get published in our now 80 journals, and they cover over 667 academic disciplines. This number keeps changing daily. And you can see here the timeline of our launches over the last 12 years. We launched journals with the aim to make them leaders in their fields, both in terms of citations and in volume. Here, just to illustrate this, an example of one of our most successful journals, Frontiers in Plant Science. It has a large, renowned and international editorial board that is really rallying behind this journal to make it the most cited and largest plant science journal in the world. And that's what they've achieved. So total citations are shown in the top graph, ahead of other famous journals that I'm sure many of you plant science will recognize. And below that in the graph, these are ranked by article output. And again, plant science is in the top spot here. In terms of impact factor, it ranks in the top 10 percentile within its impact factor category. That's a huge achievement. Similarly, Frontiers in Microbiology is leading in its fields, both in terms of citations and by size, again shown in these two graphs. With a top quartile ranking in its impact factor, it's another example how we build strong and impactful journals. And a lot of this success is due to the curated research topics that many of them are hosted by the editorial board members, which attract highly cited contents to the journal. And we are continuing to launch journals. We are taking a very data-driven approach. Camilla said we like data. So here you can see term maps, the scientific literature analyzed according to terms clustered together. And we analyze this to spot growth areas. So on the left is Frontiers' current coverage marked in purple. And we started in the life sciences and health fields. And this is still where we are most heavily represented. You can see this concentration there. And in the term map on the right, you can see some of the areas where we're now planning to launch new journals, particularly in the physical sciences and engineering fields. From the start, our journals host research topics, which is really the best way to generate interest in the community and get them engaged in highly relevant themes. Here, I'm just showing you some examples of research topics that were finalists in our Spotlight Award last year. Actually, the coral conservation one on your top left was actually the winner. And these are examples of research topics that have done very well, of course, but interestingly, each and every one of them had at least one editorial board member involved in them. Again, you are the ones who are driving this type of content into the journals. So through our journal expansions and hosting research topics, many researchers join the Frontiers family every day. In 2020, already 9,200 new editors joined our boards. I know many of you are listening in today, so a very warm welcome. I highlight here 6 editors as an example of the caliber of researchers who are actively working on the mission to make science open. So Tamas, thanks for hosting already 4 research topics in genetics. Marcia, thanks for reviewing 26 manuscripts already to date. Your enthusiasm and engagement are really key for these journals. So these graphs here show the exponential growth of submissions, acceptances, and of course rejections in Frontiers. In 2020, we are projecting around 100,000 submissions. We've already received 27,000. We are aiming for 52,000 acceptances, and we're also going to take care of 31,000 rejections, part of the service that we offer. So the growth is there. But with scale, you absolutely have to uphold the high quality standards. How are we tracking in terms of quality indicators? Well, I guess the first indicator is, are people reading your articles? And the answer is, spoiler, yes, they are. With over 840 million views and downloads across the world, we can proudly say we are reaching everyone with our articles. Look at this map glowing with everyone reading science. In April, this was over 30 million views and downloads. You can see how this has been growing over the last 2 years. And 30 million views and downloads in April means it's nearly 1 million, or it is 1 million views and downloads every day. That is just a mind-blowing scale. And most importantly, views and downloads translate into citations. Camilla briefly showed this graph already. From the 20 largest publishers, we are the 5th most cited, ahead of very large publishers such as Springer Nature and Wiley. And that surprises a lot of people because we're achieving this without a mandate to our editors to cherry pick articles, but rather by maintaining a consistently high quality standards across all our journals. And we have been in this position for a very long time, actually. Even though we are increasing in terms of size, shown here on the left, we are still consistently amongst the most highly cited publishers. And this is not just true for Frontiers in aggregate. All our journals perform in the top quartiles. This is where we want to be for both of the impact factor rankings, here seen across all the categories we're indexed in, for impact factors, and then also in the next graph here, for site scores. Here we're even in more categories, and you can see this really consistent performance across the top. How do we do this? Well, we recruit top editors, you. Our editors represent the best institutions and universities in the world. You uphold the high quality standards when appointing your editorial boards, when you invite reviewers, and when you make editorial decisions about the submissions that we receive. And this translates into high quality research topics, as I mentioned. Here, I ranked them according to the top 150 universities based on the topic editors where they come from. And these research topics then bring in submissions, and they're also of really high quality. And these highly quality submissions also represent the publishing powerhouses of this world. So these were the numbers that we track and we love, but what do our reviewers say? So reviewers get to rate the manuscripts that they get to send for review according to the quality of the study. And consistently 40% of reviewers rate the manuscripts that they receive as 4 and 5 stars in terms of the quality. So again, this is a great confirmatory indicator of that the submissions they receive are of really good quality. So to keep it this way as we grow, we have put the right technology in place, and I'm going to hand over to Daniel, who will talk you through all that's the magic behind the platform.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel. I'm the Product Management Director at Frontiers, and with that, I'm in charge of the publishing platform. Now, technology is really important at Frontiers, and the way we see it is as a hand-in-hand between machine and human, and that together we can actually achieve greater things in a shorter time. In fact, it's so important that over 250 people at Frontiers, so over 1/3 of the company, work in the technology group, and it really puts technology at the heart of what we're doing. Now, these 250 people have created a really comprehensive and great set of applications. And all of those come together as the publishing platform. And they're really designed to help you run and develop these journals in the most efficient way. But today I want to talk about one particular one, which is our Artificial Intelligence Review Assistant, short AIRA. Now, AIRA consists of two parts. Quality checks. The aim here is to assess the quality of the manuscripts and the peer review process, and the recommender, which has the aim to find the best people for the right task. And both of these heavily rely on our knowledge graph, which is a very big database that we've built ourselves, and it contains more than 200 million publications and more than 30 million researchers. But it also contains all the relationships between them, and these can be the authorship, but it can also be a citation, and what is very important for us, the semantic proximity between these. So today, the quality checks contain 13 AI-powered checks, and they incorporate many manual checks on top of it. And the goal here is really to find the manuscript with issues and flag them. So if a manuscript has no problems, it will go right through to peer review. But if it does have concerns, then our editorial team has to intervene and pay attention. So what you see in this video here is an article with its AIRA quality checks tab. And on the left side, you see all of the concerns that AIRA has raised. On the right side, you see Elena from our editorial team as she provides feedback for each of these concerns. And only when all of the concerns are addressed, she can move this article further into peer review. The recommender is a tool that many of you will have used already while editing an article. And this is really our way of helping you find the best reviewers. I picked a COVID paper, and you will see many people here from China, and especially also from the Wuhan right at the top, to show you how up to date it is. And for every suggestions, we do provide the 5 most relevant publications of why they have been suggested. And we highlight the key terminology it has in common. And we know that most of the time AIRA is really spot on. But if it isn't, you also have full control of the algorithm. And with something as simple as a slider, you can tell AIRA which of the key terms are more important to you and which are less. But you can also change these key terms and bring in your own altogether. So really, with a few clicks and just a few seconds, you have a brand new list of suggested reviewers. And this has been a really amazing technical achievement, and we're very, very proud of it. So you've seen this recommender throughout our system. But I'm also very happy to share that today it's being used externally by funders. Chantal has mentioned it. We do give free access to funders right now so that they can also use it and find the best reviewers for funding calls in this COVID context. And the feedback that we've received from them has been really amazing. So we really see a huge value that AIRA is providing to us. So I'm really happy to share that we will be making the quality checks available to editors in June already as well. So for every article, if you edit a manuscript, you'll see a new tab called AIRA. And inside, you'll see on the left side all the checks AIRA has done, and on the right side, all of the history. So you will be able to tell what was AIRA's opinion and also what has been our editorial team's feedback. By making this more available to a wider group, we're really excited to get your feedback about it, because that's going to help us make this an even more successful tool. So with that, I'm handing back to Miriam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel. So another important ingredient in ensuring our journals remain attractive to the research community is to listen to you, the editors, and also to our reviewers and authors, which is key to ensuring that our service matches your needs. So we closely monitor satisfaction rates through many different surveys across the different stages. So for example, in our surveys, we ask, how do you rate the Frontiers collaborative review process? And I just want to share with you this result here. Overwhelmingly, our users rate this as excellent or good, authors rated as 85%, excellent or good, reviewers 93%, and editors 89%. So I would like to thank you for this amazing feedback that we're receiving. And with that very positive note, I'm actually going to hand now over to Fred. Thank you.
Thanks, Miriam. Thanks very much. So I'm just going to start now by giving you a few words about the Frontiers fee policy, a little bit of rationale for our pricing, and some industry-wide context. So let's start by looking at a comparative study that our business intelligence team conducted on publishing costs a while back. As a baseline, let's consider the indicative range of costs that we pay as a society to have an article published in a subscription journal. The red bar all the way to the left, the solid red bar all the way to the left, shows the estimated range based on a series of studies. For example, the one that was conducted by Ralph Schimmer at the Max Planck Digital Library a few years ago that calculated the average costs per article based on library subscription spending. Now we show here explicitly three publishers that, because of their not-for-profit status, actually publish income statements. So this income can be simply divided by the number of publications to give an indication of what we're paying on a per article basis for articles published by these publishers. Of course, the spread is large. This is very much an indication, but it does show that the bar that was published by Ralph Schimmer et al. and other similar studies is realistic. Subscription publishing is a high margin business, and it is society that pays for that margin. And on top of that, these articles are locked behind paywalls. They're not optimized for reuse, and we have to pay for access to the same content year after year. So let's now add to this landscape the publishing article charges for a series of hybrid and gold open access. Hybrid refers to the model in which a supplement is paid for an institute for the additional service of having an article published as an open access article in a subscription title. We won't go into the economics of that, but let's just say that on aggregate, hybrid publishing does cost less, but these costs are pulled towards the longer term trends for the per article income that publishers were getting from the subscription model. In contrast to that, gold open access publishers like Frontiers is 100% fully open on publication, ready for reuse. And in addition, these costs on aggregate are lower than they are for both hybrid and for the subscription costs. And now let's just take a quick look to see where Frontiers falls into the pack. And as you see, we fall towards the right side of this graph. What this means is that it's at the lower end of the spectrum, showing extremely competitive pricing. And if you take into account what Miriam and what Daniel has told us in their parts of the presentation, there's no doubt that we are world leaders in providing value for money for the services we offer. Which brings us to the next question, and I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. All of this is available on our website. So this is just a quick run through something, a description that we provide on our website that tries to answer this very simple question: where does the money go? So as authors, what are you getting in terms of value for the article publishing charge? 100% of our income is received in the form of article publishing charges, and as a matter of fact, I just want to. This way of publishing our cost structure has just been picked up by Coalition S as exemplary. So we have been it's been quite a bit in the scientific news the last 48 hours or so. Frontiers is a leader in terms of showing how publishing costs can be made public, so people can make informed decisions. Let's start by just looking at category 5, which is our highest range of APCs. In the plot, what you see here is how the income that we get through the APC is accounted to the various cost centers. So you see costs, for example, associated with discounts, publishing, investment, innovation, etc. The first at the top, we have the two gray areas, and I refer to these as our inclusivity contributions. For example, the one at the top shows the contributions that are made in terms of making a diverse range of article types available. The second, darker gray, shows the contribution to cover the cost of fee support, waivers and discounts for authors who who work at institutions who cannot afford to pay a full or partial APC, article publishing charge. In effect, what this charge is it's sort of a solidarity fund, because people who are paying the full APC are contributing towards institutions and towards communities that are not yet able to pay a full article publishing charge. If you look at this turquoise band, this goes right back to what Miriam was talking about. This is our investment in terms of launching new titles in open access for communities that do not yet have a title in open access. The darker green band goes back to what Danielle was telling us. This is the band which represents about $480 per APC in Category 5. That supports Daniel's team and the development of services such as AIRA. And finally, just let me point out the fact that we have a range of categories. Category 5 here is all the way to the left, but we have lower pricing categories that can be selected for new journals or for communities that are new to open access that do not yet have complete funding levels. For example, a social science journal might start in Category 2 and mature to Category 4 over the years as that community gets organized in terms of allocation of funding towards the payment of open access journals. Our policy is flexible, it's strategic, it's fair, it's transparent and inclusive. No community should be left behind. Now, our policy of fee support ensures that any article that is of sufficient quality, that passes our rigorous review standards, will be published independently of the institution's ability to pay a full or partial article publishing charge. Last year, in this sense, we granted $13.2 million to institutions in fee support, representing fully 35% of the articles published at Frontiers. This is why we have to have a thorough process in place in order to assess the waiver requests. We have to be extremely careful to make sure that this fee support goes to the institutions that truly need it. Luckily, this support for open access is growing very, very rapidly. There is very strong institutional support for our services and our journals. Here are just some of the logos of the universities, and institutions that support Frontiers in our open access publishing with a simplified central invoicing method for payments. And universities and institutions are also getting organized on a national level as well. This is very important to point out. We have national consortia agreements with Sweden, Norway, the United Kingdom, and Austria, and we have just signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, to finalize negotiations with Germany for later this year. Institutions and researchers in these countries, and soon Germany, will have facilitated accounting processes for our services. And all of these contracts are and will be available as open documents. So let me please conclude this section with a quick remark. The next time someone says to you that open access publishing is expensive, please explain to this person that it is actually subscription-based publishing that is expensive, and that anybody who looks into the facts will discover that open access publishing provides outstanding value for money. I'm just going to say now a word about Frontiers Publishing Partnerships. Frontiers is now ready to support societies and other third parties with access to our technology and know-how to help them publish their journals, to flip to open access. This is just a quick look to show how our offering will take societies from the old world into a new world powered by Frontiers. We saw from Camila and Miriam that Frontiers has the mission to build all of its titles into category leaders. That's part of our mission, to show the world that open science works. But we are now opening a second front in our pursuit of our open science mission by being able to work together with societies to allow them to flip to open access. We do this two ways: by giving them access, technological access, so they can plug into our platform, and also by giving them advice on the financial models they can use to ensure their revenue streams. We have 2 contracts that have been signed. Very pleased to announce that. As of the 1st of January, Frontiers will be the official publisher of 2 journals, including the International Journal of Public Health. There are about 15 or 20 other negotiations underway, and you see that there are 2 email addresses on the slide. What you can do is you can let us know about your societies and their needs to find a partner in terms of flipping to open access. Each of these journals will be provided a strong visual identity, state-of-the-art hosting environment that will display across all devices. But I'd also like to reassure you that all of the Frontiers titles will also benefit from exactly the same new graphical support. So there'll be a rollout of a new Frontiers look and feel coming real soon. So I'm just going to finish by saying that we're very excited to have this new framework in place that will allow like-minded societies and organizations the possibility to flip to open access. And I'm going to finish off by just saying that building and supporting our worldwide community has always been a core value at Frontiers. And so just a word about our Frontiers Forum and these virtual meetings that we've organized over these last few weeks. Our mission remains unchanged. Health, as Camilla pointed out at the beginning, it's all about leveraging open science so that we can all lead healthy lives on a healthy planet. Frontiers Forum has truly evolved into an important meeting of minds to bring this mission to life. And it would have been last weekend this year. I think we were all a little bit sad. The COVID-19 emergency has not slowed us down, as Miriam pointed out, but it did unfortunately lead to the cancellation of our forum last week. The good news is that all of our speakers have committed to join us in 2021. Next year's lineup will include 2 Nobel Prize winners, Esther Duflo and Al Gore, the former Vice President of the United States and laureate of the Nobel Peace Prize. We will also have Commissioner Gabriel, who's the European Commissioner for Research and Innovation, and Stephen Pinker, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a great meeting. COVID-19, this whole situation has also inspired us to rethink how to make the forum more inclusive and more impactful. And so next year we will live stream the Frontiers Forum so that you, everyone, all our editors can participate.
Okay.
And very much in the spirit of the forum, we have organized these series of virtual editorial board meetings. The reception has been tremendous. Over 11,000 of you have signed up for these. I just want to say a quick word of thanks to Leah and Yulia, who worked very, very hard to make this all happen. On the bright side of this pandemic, we've discovered a format that works as a new channel of exchange. And so we plan to continue with these webinars at least twice a year. And with that, I give the word back to Camilla.
Thank you, Fred. Thanks a lot, everybody. Here, I would just like to take maybe the opportunity to say one final word. What the coronavirus epidemic has actually really shown us is that we all need to be working together and share our research openly as fast as possible to help solve this pandemic. And you, the scientists, are really the role models here. The genetic sequence of this virus was actually shared in record time. Researchers are working on vaccines and treatments at a speed never seen before in human history. And we are putting our research articles onto preprint servers so that we can get fast feedback and share the results as fast as possible. COVID has actually affected a lot of people. Many people have died. Half of humanity is under some sort of lockdown, and the economic loss actually goes into the trillions. So it became really very obvious throughout this pandemic and crisis is that research does need to be openly shared. And that became so obvious that even many subscription publishers are making all of their, or most of their coronavirus related research openly accessible. Because if that wouldn't be so, if we couldn't openly access all of this research and share it with doctors and researchers from all around the globe, we'd be sitting at home for many more years, waiting for treatments, waiting for a vaccine, and many more people would potentially die. But should this actually not be obvious for all health challenges that we are facing? Respiratory diseases, for example, take 8 million lives every single year, but just about 20% of the published research is openly accessible. Cancer takes 10 million lives every year, And research is actually running to solve cancer. It's about 600,000 articles that have been published in just the last 5 years. But less than a third of this is open to access. Cardiovascular disease is by far the biggest killer, 18 million lives that it takes every single year. And again, just about a fifth or so, or a quarter of it, is open to access. We could save so many more lives. We could remove so much suffering from this world just by embracing open science, as we're doing right now during this current pandemic, and share all of our data and share our research articles openly, always. Because that would prepare us so much better for all future pandemics. And rest assured, they will be coming. And it will prepare us so much better for all other global challenges that we are facing. And the biggest of them all is actually climate change. We're in the middle of it. We're sitting in a burning house. And scientists have been warning us, the entire world, about the devastating consequences of climate change for over 50 years now. And again, only if we do work together as a scientific community, only if we share our research openly, as we're doing right now, only then do we stand a chance to pivot towards a green economy and life on a healthy planet. So our mission, our common mission of making science open, is more important than ever. And every single one of you counts in this. What we all do here together matters. It matters a lot. So this is the time to act right now and together push the balance towards open science, solve this pandemic, and as well solve climate change. And it's relatively easy to do that. What does it take? It means that we will publish in open access journals. It means that you can buy the open access option in a subscription journal. If you cannot do that, then at least put your final article onto a preprint server so that everybody can access it. And ask your library to form these institutional agreements with open access publishers, just as they're doing with the subscription publishers. Because like this, we can push the balance towards open science and towards a better world. We could do it together. Thank you.